Alright everyone, disappointment for Celtic last night in the Glasgow Cup final. Celtic B, I'm talking about, we lost to Rangers B on penalties. The game itself finished 1-1. Rhys Dargie? I'm going to go with Dargie because that's what the Premier Sports commentator was going with. He scored our goal, kind of going on to a deflected shot from Jude Bonner and slotting it in. But unfortunately, we lost on penalties. Lewis Dobby, or is it Dobby? I'm hoping these guys will get to know their names in time. But he missed the all-important penalty kick, the final one, put it wide of the post. And it was victory for Rangers, and that is something you don't often say, certainly at senior level. So I was watching some of the kind of post-match stuff. Stephen McManus, the B team manager, his big frustration, and I should say I've not watched the game, his big frustration was that we actually played quite well, got into some good areas, and it was like the final pass or the final shot that let us down. So yes, they'll have to learn from that. We can't be losing to Rangers now. Okay, happier stuff now, and lots to chat about today. Just another wee reminder, everyone, that we are trying to get to 15,000 subscribers by the end of the season. So if you are one of those people watching who haven't yet managed to click that button, which takes you 5 seconds, costs you absolutely nothing, and means that you're part of the Celtic AM squad, then please consider giving it a go. As I say, trying to get to 15k, big push between now and the end of the season. And put a smile in my face, maybe even Stevie's face, going into the summer. You don't want us to be miserable all summer. Also, every show that we produce is also available as an audio-only podcast. It's extremely popular with people who like to get on with their day and listen to me in their ears rather than having to look at my... I was going to call myself ugly there. Let's be kind to myself and call myself moderately attractive. And you don't need to look at me. So that's the podcast. Okay, fine. We've sorted that. First story today, a much more exciting topic that definitely isn't brought up every few years and gets huge groans from everyone when it is. It's the prospect of league reconstruction, everyone. It was first broken at the start of this month, the very first day of the month, and it might now have been ended on the final day of April. The upshot here, the latest report from Stephen McGowan at the Herald saying that the Premiership will be continuing with the current 12-team format. The SPFL Competitions Working Group did discuss a 10-team format. They also discussed 14 teams, 16 teams, but they found flaws in all three, and basically none of the other options were attractive enough that they would have got 11 of the 12 Premiership votes needed, and that's before you even get into the lower leagues. So yeah, basically this isn't going to happen. We're going to be sticking with the 12-team league. There is another part to this story that I just want to chat about a little bit. It actually doesn't affect Celtic in any way, but it's interesting if you're a fan of wider Scottish football, and I don't know if you are. But it does seem like the lower leagues are going to be getting a bit of a revamp. The current 10-team championship could be expanded to 12 or 14 teams, and then Leagues 1 and Leagues 2 could be merged into like a 16 or 18 team league. So potentially, and it does seem like this is actually going to get a fair bit of support, you could be looking at a 12-team Premiership with Celtic in it, winning it every year, of course. The Championship being potentially 14 teams, and then you could have a 16-team, I don't know what you would call it, League One, National League, something like that. Just in terms of the Premiership staying the same, I'm not massively surprised. It did feel like we'd reached a bit of an impasse there. When it first came out, they were looking to shrink the league and bring it down to 10 games, and the reason for that was like fixture overcrowding and the more European matches, and don't worry, we'll talk about that in a wee second. But very quickly it became clear that a lot of people weren't a fan of the league getting smaller. 12 is pretty small as it is. A lot of people want us to go up to 16 or even 18 teams or 14 as well. Basically just pick a number that's bigger than 12 and ideally is even, and we'll have a go at trying to explain how that could work. But certainly don't go back the way, don't go to a 10-team league. I think, was it St Johnson's, I don't know, chief executive chairman, someone like that came out and said they wouldn't be voting for it. Fans in general, I saw the comments coming in from you people. You weren't a big fan of the league going down to 10 teams. Most notably, our manager Brendan Rodgers said that he certainly didn't think the league should be getting smaller. So it became very clear very quickly that a 10-team league wouldn't be an option. While, 16-team league, 18-team league, each team playing each other twice per season is probably quite exciting to fans because it'd be new teams and a bit more like larger leagues in Europe work, like England, Spain, Italy, Germany, etc. I think the reality here is that Sky Sports, who do put in a decent amount of money into Scottish football in relative terms, they want their 4 Celtic Rangers matches per season. They also want, ideally, 4 Celtic Hearts games, 4 Celtic Aberdeen games, even though they don't show all those in telly. They'd rather have the option to, rather than having, for example, Celtic versus Falkirk or Celtic versus Ayr United or Celtic versus Livingston, something like that. That's kind of where we're at with things. We haven't really fixed the whole original issue, though the reason that all this came up and the fact that we have too many games at this stage. I was looking back at the ultramarathon period Celtic had, and we only had one free midweek between the 23rd of November, that game when we returned at Tynecastle on the Saturday night, and March the 1st, which was an away game at St Mirren. Between the end of November and the start of March, we only had one midweek where Celtic didn't have a match, and it was just after the League Cup final victory against Rangers. Apart from that, the team had a game scheduled for every weekend, every midweek. We did have a game against Dundee at Celtic Park called off pretty late in the day due to that storm that was wreaking havoc at the time. But the players would still have been preparing for that. So it was such an intense period. And I guess the SPFL's concern, their worry going forward would be what happens if we don't have, or if we have a worse winter weather-wise and more games are called off, or what happens if we go around further in the Champions League? No laughing, please. And we have another couple of games you have to fit into that busy period. So I think you kind of got away with it this season, as ridiculous as that fixture run was. And their worry would be what happens if we're not so lucky in future seasons. So you know what the SPFL are like. They're not going to just give up this concern. So I do see league reconstruction rearing its head again in, I don't know, a year or so. And potentially at that stage things are a bit more serious, and maybe it's brought in out of necessity and a bit of a reactive measure rather than a kind of proactive one at this stage. I also wonder if in future seasons, not next year but years after that, the start of the season might be brought forward to the final week in July just to create a bit more space. Maybe you fit in more midweek games at the end of the season. I do struggle with the schedule in a way. Why do we play so many night games during the pretty horrible months, November, December, January, February? Non-stop night matches at Celtic Park, freezing. I should probably defer to Stevie at this stage, but he's probably sleeping right now. Big jacket on, Baltic, can see your own breath. Horrible stuff. And then when we get to the spring month, these kind of times, wow, no midweek football to be seen. We don't take advantage of the nicer midweek nights. So why not play more games at the end of the season? Bring the split, condense the split a little bit. Maybe have 2 of the 5 post-split games happening at midweek rather than just the one at the moment. Just wee ideas that I have as a daft guy sitting here, and I kind of wonder why they don't do. I'm sure there's a good reason. But just to reiterate, 12-team league is staying for now, and I'm sure that'll be the case until we have another debate about this in approximately 18 months. I was going to set my watch there and then remembered my Apple Watch is broken. It's up there somewhere. Anyway, we've got a few other things to discuss today. First of all, though, this show has been created in affiliation with NordVPN. They are the people who make it possible to make your phone or laptop appear like it's in another country, allowing you to stream sport, TV and more like you were in that country. Now, give you a quick example. This weekend when I'm tuning in to watch the derby, I'll be able to watch it on Sky Sports via Now TV, completely legally with the help of NordVPN. I just go in and change my location to the UK and I can get the tears of Chris Boyd. I can get a bit of Chris Sutton winding him up. And of course, I can get Celtic scoring 5 goals at Ibrox. So, yep, VPN, very important. Even away from sport, when you're talking TV programmes, it allows you to get different catalogues on things like Netflix. If you change the country, you might get certain shows you can't get in the UK. So definitely worth it, especially if you're going on holiday and want to stay in touch with what's happening with Celtic. So yeah, they've made all this possible, NordVPN, and we've got a pretty cool offer for you as a Celtic AM viewer. You can get up to 74% off NordVPN's 2-year plan and 3 extra months by going to nordvpn.com/Celtic AM. nordvpn.com/Celtic AM. If you don't like it as well, there's no risk with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. nordvpn.com/Celtic AM. That's the final time I'm saying it, and it's also in the description. Okay, a number of other things to discuss before I head off today. I'm just going to rattle through these stories. First of all, the officials for the aforementioned derby on Sunday have been announced. The referee is Nick Walsh. Assistants Frank Connor and Dougie Potter. VAR is Andrew Dallas. Assistant VAR Andrew McWilliam. Just looking back, I believe the last derby that Nick Walsh took charge of was one last season. You'll probably remember it. After the game, Philippe Clement was pretty unhappy, blamed his team's defeat on the referee. It doesn't really narrow it down though, does it? That could be any derby. It was the Scottish Cup final. Remember Philippe Clement? What a guy he was. Yeah, he wasn't too happy with Nick Walsh after that cup final, but I wouldn't take it personally, Nick. And yeah, he's in charge this weekend. Wouldn't we settle for a last-minute Adam Eder winner at Ibrox? Imagine the meltdown. Elsewhere, just another small story from yesterday. Sky Sports have picked up our final away game of the league season at Aberdeen on Wednesday the 14th of May. So a fortnight today. The game will now kick off at the slightly later time of 8 p.m. I think it was 7:45 previously. It'll be live on Sky Sports. Not totally sure why that is the case. It doesn't appear to me to be a particularly appetising game. But please make sure you tune into the reaction afterwards because it's definitely a big game. But they maybe just have like a slot to fill in their schedule. I guess Aberdeen are playing for third place, aren't they? And no one's going to turn down an opportunity to watch the finest team in Scotland play. So maybe that's the reason. And that means that our upcoming game against Hibs in 10 days at Celtic Park is actually the only remaining game this season that isn't being shown live on TV. So that's all well and good. As promised, supporters liaison officer John Paul Taylor has offered an update to supporters heading to Ibrox on Sunday. He tweeted to say, this weekend, fans who have a valid match ticket are requested to gather at Broomloan Coach Park from 9:30 with a view to being in the stadium around 10:30. Ticket checks will be in place on approach to the stadium. So as expected, 2.5 hours before kick-off, it was the same for Rangers fans at Celtic Park. So yeah, a fun weekend ahead for the Celtic support. Remember, 2,000 of us packed in at Ibrox on Sunday, hoping to see a big result. Finally, a bit of a surprise story linking Alexandro Bernabei with a move to La Liga and to perennial Europa League winners Sevilla, who are having a bit of a tougher time of it this season, really struggling in Spain. But I was looking at the league table earlier, and they're not going to be relegated, so they should be fine there. Bernabei, of course, now with Internacional, the Brazilian side, who paid £4.5 million. Oh, and I thought we were daft. No, that's harsh. I think he's doing quite well now. They've even saw a report of him potentially getting a call up for world champions Argentina at some stage, which is a bit of a strange one, but maybe we judged him too quickly. He's doing well at Internacional, and it seems like he might be about to get a big move this summer. I think they're strapped for cash a little bit, so might look to sell one of their better players, and Bernabei attracting interest from Sevilla. The Celtic element here away from Bernabei is that reportedly we attached a sell-on clause when he moved to Internacional. So we may well be due a little bit of money here should Bernabei get his big move. There has been similar kind of stuff in the past with Celtic. I mean, the big one at the moment is Jeremy Frimpong. Spoke about that a few weeks ago, that if he gets his even bigger move this summer, we'll have a pretty tidy fee. Was it like £7 million or something like that coming our way? I doubt we'd get quite as much for Bernabei, but we just add it all together and hopefully use it to finally buy a top level striker this summer. Hopefully that's the case. Okay, so that's pretty much us for today, everyone. Appreciate you watching once again. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I'll chat to you soon.